Good afternoon, everyone. Who can believe it's November and the week of Thanksgiving? The year is flying. So this is Moving Forward with Michelle, and today is November 24th, 2025. We're gonna, you see the chairs are not set up on the other side of the stage here because there's a lot of guest speakers today. I'm pretty much gonna be emceeing Moving Forward with Michelle. So I'm just gonna pop up and down from the podium. So here is our agenda. So you're going to hear from Detective Cindy Miranda, Financial Crimes Division from Montgomery County Police Department. And then we also have Amy Thomas of Adult Protective Services. She is an investigator. And then we have Erica Baylor, who was an Asbury Methodist long-term associate who's returned to us to be with them. I'm going to go over campus updates. We had a lot of conversation, a lot of questions at Candid Conversations with Michelle last Monday. So Steve Mathis is going to provide further updates on the Comcast contract for you. Rob Walker is going to cover emergency preparedness for you. The Director of Security and Transportation, and everyone must pay attention because he's got a fire extinguisher with him. So if you're not having eyes on Rob, he might hit you up. And then Patty's going to go over our 100-year anniversary activities that are coming up. She's been working with the 100th anniversary committee. So we got a big agenda for you. So I'm going to turn it over to the police department. So give them a warm Asbury Methodist Village welcome. To advance the slide, just hit there to the right.
And I can only talk over the microphone here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Would you need to walk around? We have a hand. We can
No,
get a
it's okay.
handheld mic.
No, I'm good.
Okay. And you need to point the clicker towards the back.
Towards the back. Okay. Hello, everyone. I'm, as your executive director here said, I'm Cindy Miranda, and I work at police headquarters. That's my address there at 100 Edison Park Drive. This is just a small reminder about, we don't take reports at our office. We do the follow-up investigations. A lot of people call our office and want us to do, take their initial report over the phone, and we don't. We only do the follow-ups. So if you do have a case or you need to make a report, the non-emergency number is listed there, 301-279-8000, or you can go to your local police station. Okay, of course, in every presentation that I do, I talk about a little disclaimer. I'm not going to read all these, but if I happen to mention a bank or maybe a store like Target or something like that, it's not meant to embarrass the place or pick on them. I shop at Target, I shop at Walmart, but sometimes I use stores as an example. So this is our disclaimer that that it's just based upon our personal experience. It's not meant to single out any business or organization. So what is our unit comprised of? We only have one supervisor, who's the sergeant, and we have 4 sworn fraud detectives. Right now, we only have 3 because one is working somewhere else for a few months. And we have a handful of interns and volunteers. We do have 2 cadets in our office. So why am I telling you this? Why does it matter? Well, we receive about 4,000 to 5,000 reports per year. So I like to let people know if we don't happen to get to your case, that is the reason why. We work 40 hours a week, and we just can't possibly get to everyone's case. So sometimes you might just receive a letter in the mail that gives you some pointers about the crime that you were involved with what you can do, like, for example, an identity theft, what kind of safeguards you can put in place. But that's the reason why we just can't possibly call everybody, because we just have too many. 3 to 4 reports are assigned to a detective per month, and we handle substantial money loss, multiple victims, and those involved with financial exploitation, which is going to be the topic of my presentation. So I had our crime analyst for this presentation just pull the most popular reported cases from January 1st, 2025 to the present in Montgomery County, just so you can get a sense of what is actually really happening. As you can see, fraud and identity theft is at the top, okay? So I'm gonna give you some safeguards, and before I forget, I also left some paper tips in the back. There's like some handouts in the back at that back table as you leave the theater, so you can have something to take with you if you don't remember everything that I'm saying. So this is the list here of what we have seen since January. So some current fraud trends that I think are important for this population are elder fraud and financial exploitation. And when I refer to financial exploitation of a vulnerable adult, what that means by the Maryland law is anyone that is over the age of 68, okay? So that's the kind of topics we're gonna be talking about for financial exploitation of vulnerable adult. The other ones are, so the majority are internet scams and account takeovers. We also have a lot of phone scams and requesting money. Those include romance scams, computer virus, pop-ups, courier, lottery scams, etc. We're gonna go into a little bit of detail of each one of these. I know, what a funny name, right? Pig butchering. When I say this to people, they're like, what is that? Okay, so this is an online investment scam where criminals build your trust. Sometimes they meet you maybe, does anybody use Facebook here by the raise of hands? Okay, sometimes they reach out from Facebook Messenger. Sometimes they just flat out send you a text. I just had a gentleman today's Monday, last week, tell me, well, he really couldn't tell me how he got into WhatsApp, but I think someone just sent him a text message. So he received a random text message, and then the criminal moved him into an app called WhatsApp. If you're not familiar, it's very difficult for the police to figure out who's behind a WhatsApp phone number, so that's why the criminals are doing it. So they may build some trust, either some type of relationship prior to talking you into this big investment scam, okay? Well, they're not saying it's a scam, but it definitely is. How do they do that? They say they're making millions, you need to join. They have you download what's maybe an app. The guy last week did not have an app on his phone, but so they're changing up different means, but the majority of the pig butchering is that they have you download a fake app on your phone, and you're starting to watch the investments go up, okay? It's fake, so it's not real. You think it's real, but it's not. And then when you're ready to take out your money, or you say, okay, this looks great, I made $50,000, they make the victim pay more money to withdraw the investment. And usually these investments are made through cryptocurrency. So now that I've talked about cryptocurrency very briefly here, who knows a lot about Bitcoin? Who is let me see the experts of cryptocurrency. Anybody? Okay, notice that I'm not raising my hand either, okay? I wouldn't give any money to cryptocurrency because I understand it in my job, but I don't understand the investments. So I'm so glad to see that no one raised their hand. So I'm going to tell you is that what letter does Bitcoin start with? If you remember anything from today, Bitcoin is bad. The two B's, okay? Bitcoin, bad. If you don't remember anything else I say, remember that when you go back to your homes. Okay. Let's talk about some more elder fraud cases. Unfortunately, we do have theft by family members. I have been a detective I've been a police officer for 27 years, and I'm going on my 14th year in financial crimes. And what I can tell you over the years is that money makes people crazy, okay? Greed. I have never realized how much money, it's made me look at money in a different aspect, I think, from working here so long. But yeah, we have a lot of cases where, unfortunately, children, relatives are stealing from the family members. Theft by home. healthcare workers. Well, they're there so they can see what you have, so that makes it really easy. Not everybody's bad, but you have to remember, I work in an office where nobody calls the police when they're having a good day, okay? So I'm a little cynical, I'm sorry, but I'm sure there's wonderful caretakers out there. I have met plenty of them. But the cases that I'm getting are usually people that are stealing from those that are a vulnerable adult. Victimized by phone scam, mail, internet scams. I could say that this is probably the majority of the cases that I see, and we'll talk more about them. And victimized by fake home improvement contractors. Those are called woodchucks. All right, let's talk about the Microsoft pop-up scams. I think I get about 2 of these a week. So you're on your computer. Okay, who has computers here? Everybody? A lot of people. Yeah, I expect to see that. So good, I'm glad that you're here today to listen to this. So a message appears, and I actually just took a snip off the computer, a picture of a snipping tool here. And a message appears while you're working, and all of a sudden it says that there's like some kind of urgent matter. I can't read what it says from here, but it wants you to contact another number because there's something going on with your computer. Sometimes people even get like this loud alert, okay? And for those, and sometimes in these presentations I reference to my own mother. It's not to pick on her, but she is 83. I know that when something happens to her computer, she gets very excited, right? She usually calls me, thank goodness. But this can be very scary for you guys, and I understand, because you don't know what happened, you don't know what you clicked on, and you see a message. What I don't want you to do is to call the number that's on the message, okay? Because that's part of the scam, okay? If you see something like this, I want you to do what's called a hard shutdown, okay? Just press the power button until your computer shuts down and unplug it. Very simple. We have a place called the Geek Squad, right? Or any type of internet or a computer place to look at your computer. That's what I would recommend you do. I'm not a computer person, so don't bring it to my office. We don't do computer evaluations, but taking it to a reputable place would be great. So what happens is, when you do call the number, they can gain access to your computer and see everything that you have. So what's most important is that any numbers that pop up, if you don't have the capability of taking your computer somewhere, that you should make sure you find a reputable Microsoft number to call, not what's getting popped up there. Right, do not reply to the unsolicited or pop-up information, and find a legitimate call to verify. And I already talked about the hard shutdown. I'm ahead of myself. Okay, government imposter scams are exactly what it is. Somebody calls and says they're the IRS. They say that there's a warrant for your arrest. Let's see, what are the ones that I've had a lot at Leisure World? We have information that you have possession of child porn. These criminals pick the worst things to say to you because they know that it's going to get you upset, right? Sometimes I say to my victims, have you ever looked at child porn? And they say, no. And then I say to them, I'm just wondering, what made you think that that you did because this person who you don't know said you did? And it's because they want to catch you off guard, right? This population here are the followers, right? You follow the laws, you do what you're supposed to do, right? When someone says something, you follow it. You don't want to get in any trouble. You're all good citizens of the community, right? And so these criminals know they can say something just to get you to jump. It's urgency, okay? Urgency to withdraw your money so that they can get to it. So here's some examples here. Taxes are overdue. I have a county phone. I still get phone calls that I owe back taxes and pay. I had never owed back taxes for the IRS, but I still keep getting this call if I want to consolidate my debt. I'm not sure why. I don't even call them back, nor do I answer. The U.S. draft has been reinstated. You've been called up for service. Maybe not typically for this population, but these are just some other examples that we've seen. And there's a warrant out for your arrest. Or the child porn thing. That's the one that I've seen a lot of. So if you guys have ever seen the arrest that we made last year with the gold scams, where we had locked up, some are shaking your head, which is great, because I've done a lot of these presentations and I've asked, and everybody said that they hadn't seen it on the news. We made some arrests of people that were picking up what they thought were gold from our older population. It started as a government imposter scam where they wanted you to take out your money for whatever reason. There was an identity theft, whatever the scam was, and they wanted you to take out all your money and buy gold. Well, because of those arrests, they're no longer really, we haven't seen any gold cases in a while, probably because of what we were doing last year. Now, they are turning to the courier scams. What does that mean? That means just to withdraw the cash and have somebody pick it up. Very simple. And I know some of you are like sitting there going, really? You're gonna go withdraw everything and put it in an envelope? It happens, okay? I can't explain why some folks don't call a friend or whatever. It's the urgency. Remember, these criminals, this is their full-time job, okay? This is what they do for a living. And they're very good at it. And they'll curse you out and raise their voice. And I know that the elder population does not like that. I know my mom gets very frazzled at 83 if somebody raises her voice. So she's gonna do exactly what the person on the phone says. So again, the courier scam starts as a phone call, and then the victim is asked to secure their savings, and then they withdraw from the bank, and the courier is sent to pick it up. So the last couple cases I had, there were actually Uber drivers that were picking up the money. So the couriers were not even involved in the crime, okay? So as detectives, we have to be very careful about, you know, they had a tag number at this high rise in Rockville, and they're like, we got the guy, here he is. And I call them, I called Uber first, and they're like, yep, he's an Uber driver. And then I called him, and he's like, I had no idea it was in the envelope. So it would be really upsetting if I had gotten charges against a guy based upon that he just picked up $15,000 from an 80-year-old lady, but you have to do a little work, okay? So that's what they're doing. They're hiring couriers to go pick up the money. So let's talk about how you can protect yourself. Don't open up any emails or links from people you don't know. This also includes clicking on ads. Because I asked one of these guys that's really good in computers about how one of my victims lost $800,000 through her computer, and it was because he found that she clicked on an ad. So be very careful where you click, not just emails, but you know how like you have these little pop-up ads in your computer? Be very careful about that. Some of those are viruses. Review your credit report annually and receive bank balances daily. We're going to talk a little bit more about that. Report lost checks, credit ATM cards. How many of you look at your bank account online every day? Somebody laughed. I see like 4 hands. Right. So, right, we're not really into this online stuff. I understand. I get it. I check mine twice a day. I'm a little paranoid because sometimes things can get compromised, and I want to make sure that I report that in a timely manner. What does that mean? It means that if you see something wrong with your bank account, you have about 30 days to report it. Most banks, okay? If you wait 2 or 3 months that there's something going on with your account, somebody went in and took some money out, you're probably out of luck. So it's very important that when you get your paper statements, or if you check your bank account online, that you you file an affidavit with the bank as soon as possible. Check your credit card charges and bank account frequently. Like I said, in the 14 years I've done a lot of presentations. Why does this population have so many bank accounts and credit cards? I don't know. I'm asking a rhetorical question. I'm not a business financial person, but I'm going to give you my advice. I have 1 credit card. Why? It's just easier to check. If there's fraud on there, I don't have to worry about checking so many of them. I'm going to use my mom again. I'm so glad she doesn't live in this county. She had this card just sitting around. She didn't use it. I don't know, maybe it was a store card. And then all of a sudden, she caused me to panic because she's now sent to a collection agency. And I was like, why do you have that card? I don't know. I haven't used it in 5 years. Okay, well, let's get rid of it. So think about where all your money is, okay? If it's in multiple accounts, it's just more for this population to check, right? For me, I'm 53. I'm very busy. I only want 1 card to check. So I have everything very consolidated. Just something to think about, unless you're really good at checking all of your credit cards once a month. Because remember I said, if you can file a dispute, but if it's already been compromised, meaning someone cloned your credit card or your debit card, you might not be able to report in a timely manner, and you might have to pay for that, okay? Do not let someone rush you into making quick decisions. I talked about the urgency, right? That's their job. They want to get you all razzled and upset so that you can deplete all of your funds. If you don't know cryptocurrency, then don't use it. If you do not initiate the contact, no matter who is contacting you, do not react to the solicitation through the channels this literature set up. What does this say here? Oh, this little box right here, it's hard to see. Scammers may not use cryptocurrency. Okay, right. So what we did with the Secret Service is do you know that there's cryptocurrency ATMs all over the place in Montgomery County? So we went out and put out flyers that says beware, because we were finding that the phone scams were turning into crypto, which means they were calling you saying you needed to like safeguard your funds or whatever the false scam was, having you deplete the funds and taking the cash and feeding it into a cryptocurrency machine. So the scammers use crypto because they know that we have a hard time tracing it. Okay, once it goes to the wallet, it's gone. I have two people. I have a cadet right now and one guy in my office that's tracing Bitcoin. He's getting better at recovering the money, but I wouldn't take that chance, because if we don't get on it in a timely manner, your money is gone and we can't recover anything. So my suggestion is just don't use it. Don't go to a Bitcoin ATM. They're all over the place. We put up signs because we don't want people to stop using them, if you don't know. Think before you withdraw cash, buy cryptocurrency, or wire large amounts of money. Do not let the scammers allow you to become a victim. Contact a friend. Hey, what do you think about this? You guys live in Asbury. I'm sure there's a lot of workers here that you can just run by, right? Your next door neighbor. There's also AARP. You guys are familiar with that? Okay, so you can call. There's a 24-hour hotline you can call. Shoot, I've even given out my number. I don't work 24/7, but like, what? You just call me if you think there's something fishy about it before you withdraw all your hard-earned money. So as you saw in my earlier chart, identity theft is the top reported crime that we have. These are the three credit bureaus: Equifax, TransUnion, and Experian. Has anybody checked their credit report? It's free. Anybody? Okay. You get free credit checks. It's online. I know, I'm sorry, guys. It's online. I think I have a picture of it later, what the only free credit check is. That's very important to see if anybody's using your identity, okay? Different requirements for the bureaus. There are alerts or temporary freezes and long-term freezes for victims of identity theft. What does that mean? If you have been a victim of identity theft and you live in Montgomery County, you need to report it, okay? If you know someone that's lived somewhere else, they have to report it according to the law where they live. So if you live here, you need to report it even if you're not at a monetary loss, okay? Because I can't predict what they're going to do with your identity. So it's very important that you get a report on file. As I said, make the police report by calling 301-279-8000. We do have a telephone reporting unit that does take reports over the phone. There's certain criteria. It's got to be less than a $10,000 loss, and you cannot have a suspect, meaning like you don't know who did the crime. Then they'll take the report over the phone. Immediately notify your affected creditors, get a copy of your credit report, request a copy of any fraudulent records. The last bullet is very important as well. File an ID theft complaint with the Federal Trade Commission. So here is the annualcreditreport.com. One of my presentations at Kensington Assisted Living asked me, "Where's the phone number?" So I put the phone number in. Because not everybody is good about using online. So there's the 1877 number. And you can complete the annual credit report request form, and you can actually mail it. I actually feel much better doing it online than mailing my identifying, my name and social security number and date of birth. So, okay, so what does this mean? Take advantage of free credit monitoring from companies that have been breached. So I didn't talk about why identity theft is on the rise or why there's so much of it. Has anybody received any letters in the mail that's saying that some company that was compromised? Okay, you're raising your hand. I've received so many of them that they offer me free credit monitoring because that's part of what they do. So let's see. Blue Cross Blue Shield is my insurance. I think that was the last one that got compromised. And you get this letter in the mail. See, they don't call you. That's what's important, okay? They send you a letter and they send you a code and they say, we are so sorry that we've leaked your name and date of birth and social security number. Here is a free credit monitoring. That's what I do. I don't pay for a service. That's up to you if you want to pay for a service. But I take advantage of all the free ones that are out there because they've been compromised. So that's what's happening, is that other countries are having people break into our stuff here, no matter what company it is. I was a victim from the OPM breach. That's just another example, the federal government or Blue Cross, okay? So they get into the information here, and then they sell the information on the dark web to folks here that buy it. If you're not familiar with the dark web, it's a place where bad people buy stuff. You can buy guns, drugs, passports. You can buy anything. I'm glad that no one knows. No one's shaking their head. Yes, that's good. That's where the criminals buy everything. That's where they buy your identity. And then they use your identity here in the United States. So that's how it works. So I've been a victim twice, and I am the police. It's just you have to be vigilant and file the report and do the credit freeze if it happens to you. I know it's devastating, but if you check your mail frequently and if you see anything weird, like I got a phone call from Target, and they said, how was your, what did they say to me? I was homesick. I'm like, oh, thank you very much for opening up a credit card. I was like, I didn't open up a credit card. So that's how I was alerted to mine. This is what annualcreditreport.com looks like. Why do I put this here? Because if you Google free credit report, that's not the top one that comes up. It's because do you know that you can pay Google to be at the top slot, right? So be careful, because I made that same mistake, talking about rushing, and I Googled credit report, and then I started to put all my information in. At the very end, it said, you owe us $60. And I was like, what? I was like, it's supposed to be free. So that's why I put that, so you can see, it looks like fish or something, just so people can see what it's supposed to look like. Annualcreditreport.com. Okay, the IC3 is good to report. That's the compilation of all the scams that the FBI collects. So you can file a report there as well if you've been a victim of an internet scam or a fraud. That's what that website looks like. And here are the phone numbers. I don't believe, I think I did do, I left you guys a paper with some credit stuff on it. So I didn't talk a little bit about how we work our case. We get our case at our office, and if the victim is anybody over the age of 68 or over, I send a copy of the police report to the Adult Protective Services supervisor, who then sends it to another unit to review it to see if they're going to assign it. Okay, so we work very closely with Adult Protective Services, which is where Amy and Erica is from. Erica's one of the supervisors, and so sometimes Amy and I go out together. Sometimes I go out, if the person has Alzheimer's or dementia, I might not go because I don't want to confuse the situation more. But sometimes we tag team because we're trying to convince the person that they are involved in a scam. It's very, very heartbreaking, especially working with children of these adults that keep giving their money up. And sometimes I think going out with a badge and gun and my knowledge of working in the unit will stop the person. Sometimes it does, and unfortunately, sometimes it doesn't. And I'll tell you, over the years, it's really broken my heart, because even though it's not my money, I still feel like that's why I took this job, was to protect others, and I can't, because we can't get you to stop. So you're all sitting here, and you all know somebody else, right? So if it's not happening to you, but you think that you know somebody else that this is happening to, you need to report it to us. You can remain anonymous. Adult Protective Services does not ever reveal who the reporting source is. The police don't have a policy of that, but we can certainly keep that quiet as well. Because the main goal is that everybody has worked very hard, right, their entire lives, and it's time to enjoy yourself. And we have seen, Amy and I, people that have depleted almost all of their funds. I had a pig butchering case where the husband depleted all of their funds and the wife committed suicide. It broke my heart because she was just so much in debt. So these are serious cases because it makes you mentally become so devastating. Even though it's just money, it is like how you live. You know, you pay for the roof over your head and food. So these can be very serious cases. So the other important thing is that having a power of attorney, okay? Yeah, this population's very feisty. I'll tell you, nobody wants anybody to be involved as far as a power of attorney because you've all been independent and you know what you're doing. But let me tell you something. It doesn't hurt to have someone younger looking over your funds. It doesn't mean you're going to lose your independence, okay? But there's going to be a time where you don't want to be now not remembering what day it is, and now you can't get anybody to sign that paper to help you because technically they're not supposed to sign power of attorneys. So I think from what I've seen over the years, the important things is to have a medical and financial power of attorney and make sure you have a will. I mean, I had a will when I had a child. You know, I was only in my late 30s. I know, it's like a will, I'm not gonna die. But when you have other things, it's very important to have those in place because it kind of like alleviates the fighting between families. I've seen that. They kind of pull the police into that. And if you have everything in paper, it's good. And it's also good to have someone there overseeing your accounts and making sure that you're making good decisions, okay? I think that's it. If it's good, does it say if it's good, too good to be true, then it probably is. No one's going to win a Tesla here if you pay the taxes up front. I'm giving you examples of some cases I've had. I know it sounds silly, but people just get, sometimes I like to hear why people get caught up in scams, maybe because maybe I can help prevent the next one of happening. And that was, one guy told me he was just really busy. He was still working, and he got really busy, and he didn't, he just didn't. He was just, they got him to just move money quickly, and he wasn't even thinking. Okay, so does anybody have, I think we have a few minutes for questions, if anybody has any questions. It's a quiet crowd. I gave you guys a lot of information. I didn't even talk about really all of the scams, but I just picked what I thought was the most important. You guys know about spoofing, right? They can make a number appear to be somewhere else. They've used our police department before and saying it was the police. Right? When you look up the number on Google, it does come back to the police. I'd say hang up and call the real police station and make sure. They have said, that they were the police. I've called victims where they hang up on me and say, I don't know who you are. And you know what? I am not offended. I'm like, this is great. They learned not to answer the phone. So in cases like that, I'll just show up at your door and show you my real ID and my badge. But yeah, I mean, after you become scammed, you become really upsetting. The other thing I find in this population, last week I had a guy that's a doctor and a lawyer. So what does that mean? That crime does not discriminate. It doesn't matter what you look like or how smart you are or you're like a scientist. Amy and I have had some very prominent people in Montgomery County. Why do you think they're targeted? Everything's out there. Google yourself every once in a while and see what's out there. I know my name's out there. Not to say that I have a lot of money, but you don't think these criminals do a little background on you? You don't think they pick on maybe Chevy Chase zip code, Bethesda zip code? I'm not saying all the crimes are there, but I get heavily that sometimes I sit back and I look, and it's where the money is. And a lot of these cases we don't solve. It's basically just a recovery because a lot of them are initiated overseas. So our statistics of actually solving these cases are very low. If I can catch the money quickly, I can do a search and seizure warrant and try to get your money back, only if it has not left the country. So if you send it to another bank that's within the United States, and within 2 days I can call and get a freeze on it, I can get some or all of the money back. And that's why it's important for you all to look out for your neighbors. If they happen to mention like, oh, I just sent so-and-so 20,000. And if you get questioned by the bank, that's the law, so don't be offended. If you're over 60, the law is, I know it's confusing because the ages are different. If you're over 65, and the bank's supposed to question you, but the vulnerable adult law is over 68. So if you're over the age of 65 and you get questioned of why you're taking out a big amount of money, don't be mad at them because they're supposed to do that or they can get in trouble. Now, they will only argue with you so long, and because you are the customer, they will let it go, because I've seen that. But they're supposed to question you and report it either to Adult Protective Services, the state's attorney's office, or the police department in a timely manner so we can try to find you and figure out what you're doing. Okay, and the criminals tell you what to say, too. Some of them come in on their phone. They're telling you exactly what to say. Tell the bank it's for home improvement. Or tell the bank that you're just taking out a loan for your college grandson. So I hear all kinds of stuff. So make sure that you're not getting caught up in this fantasy. Take a deep breath and say, is this really right? Does this sound right? Am I really going to get a Tesla if I give $10,000 for the shipping? You're laughing, but we have a lady. It's not one of your clients, but there was another. It is one of your clients. No? The Tesla? No. And that situation is that it was actually AI was being used, where it was a video, and that's a whole nother presentation. When AI comes and they can, change images, where emails or videos that are the real person, or they can make it sound like your grandson. Steal his voice and you think it is your grandson asking for money, hang up, call the real number, okay? If they're offended, they'll get over it. I'd rather you do that than lose 100 or 50,000, okay? Any questions? Did I miss anything? No? There's a lot of information, I know. This is my best part because I get to get the information out because we can't solve anything. So this is not anything, but the majority of the cases are very difficult. The in-home ones, the caretakers and the theft by family, we have a good shot because they're here. But those phone scams usually originate outside the US. It's very difficult. There aren't really many cooperating countries. I didn't mention, we do have an FBI agent in my office that works there about once a week, and we also have a postal inspector. So our FBI agent, there are cooperating countries with the FBI. We're a local agency, so we're not going to be working with other countries, but the FBI does have some cooperation from other countries. So we can, it's not like a lose-lose everywhere. It's just that those cases go to the federal agents. Okay? Anybody? That's it?
So a huge thank you to Detective Miranda. We want to keep everyone as safe as possible. And while I'm at the thank yous, a thank you to our ushers today. All right, on to our program. So a couple of campus updates. Happy Thanksgiving. It is Thanksgiving week, and I have a poem of gratitude for you. Gratitude is quiet, yet it fills a crowded room. A gentle touch of sunlight, a lifting of the gloom. It lives in simple moments. We often let it pass. A shared meal, warm laughter, a soft November sky. Today, we pause to see it. The blessings, small and grand. The steady hearts beside us. The comfort of a hand. For every gift of kindness, for love both old and new, for hope that keeps us moving, we give our thanks to you. May gratitude surround us like autumn's golden hue and teach us every season to cherish what is true. May gratitude be our cheer and kindness guide the coming year. With warmth and love in all you do, happy Thanksgiving from me to you. Okay, some great news. We are a community, unity, and this is all of our celebration. So Asbury Methodist Village is recognized amongst America's best continuing care retirement communities in 2026 by Newsweek and Statista. So, congratulations. So the award rankings were published on Newsweek's website on November 19th and will be featured in Newsweek's print edition on December 5th. The rankings are based on 4 data sources. The first is evaluation from medical professionals and staff working in management administration of CCRCs, as well as acquaintances of residents and residents living in CCRCs. Number 2 is visitor satisfaction based on facility visitor data published by AccuShield. Third is accreditation programs relevant for CCRCs based on the Commission of Accreditation of Rehabilitation Facilities, or CARF. We belong to CARF. The fourth, Google reviews as a proxy for overall satisfaction. So we keep asking everyone to do those Google reviews because they count and they assist us. So the America's Best Continuing Care Retirement Communities 2026 title reinforces our reputation as a facility that provides benchmarking, leading care, and excellent services. So we're truly grateful for that honor. Okay, a few weeks ago, we celebrated the associates at the ASSE Awards, which celebrate and recognize associates who contribute to making Asbury a fantastic place to live, work, and serve. The associates are nominated by their peers. These are associates who go the extra mile to help others succeed, create a positive and welcoming environment, and set an example of that motivates everyone to do their best. So a huge thank you to all the associates for their heart, teamwork, and dedication, and for making Asbury more than a workplace. It is a family. Earlier that day, we also celebrated the Associate Service Awards, recognizing associates that have been here 5 through 50 years of service. And our next Trex recycling bench. We have successfully completed another challenge by collecting 1,002 pounds of plastic film. We'll be receiving a second bench. We're now about to begin our third challenge. Our first bench that we received is currently over on the sidewalk near the Mund building across from the Russell Avenue gate. So please, as you're walking through campus, stop and look at that. It's exciting, and we're keeping all of that plastic film out of the landfill. And we're recycling it and putting it to great use. All right, I'm going to turn things over to Steve. Steve's going to turn things over to Rob. Rob's going to turn things over to Patty.
So Comcast, this has been a long time coming. So why did we choose Comcast? What's going to happen, and when's it going to happen? So those are the things we're going to go through. So first, the contract. We hadn't had a contract since 2016, and that was a 5-year contract. So that expired in September of 2021. So we definitely needed another contract. Number 2, the infrastructure. All those boxes, they're old. Most of them don't work with new TVs. So we're going to be updating the infrastructure. What does that include? That includes wiring, that includes a lot of different stuff coming into the hubs, and so we decided what we're doing. Number 3, customer service. As everyone knows, customer service with Comcast is more miss than hit. So we're going to be getting more and more better customer service from Comcast because they're now paying attention to our campus. And last but not least, for me, billing. I am tired of getting 500 envelopes of bills every single month. So those are the reasons why we reached out to Comcast and said, hey, we need some help. And when I tell you I get 500 of them, I had boxes in my office. So if you came into my office, you would see these boxes with Comcast bills in them. And most of them had zero balance. I would say 98% of them had zero balance or a credit of 16 cents. So we decided we wanted to get rid of that. So what do we have? Well, we have a new 5-year contract. That contract begins on February 21st, 2026, and will run to February 20th of 2031. Our contract is known as Basic X1 Ultimate TV, and it includes 185 channels plus the 2 for AVTV. As of right now, none of the channels will change with the new contract, so you don't have to worry about that. AVTV will still be the cable numbers that they are now. You get up to 3 boxes and remotes per unit. That does not mean if you have a 1-bedroom or a studio that you're allowed to suddenly have 3 TVs in one room. If you only need one, only get one. So we can always upgrade with this particular contract. We were going to be getting a dedicated customer service line. It's going to be 24/7. The exception, of course, is it's going to be actually a person will pick up the phone, except for between the hours of 10 p.m. and 7 a.m. Then it's going to be automated, but there will be someone who will be actually listening to that. It says 3 boxes. That's actually should be 13 boxes will be placed in neighborhood common areas. We're going to be getting 13 free boxes for our common areas. So every neighborhood's going to get one. Every neighborhood is going to be getting 1 box, and we'll be figuring out where they go in the upcoming weeks. Masson and a basic regional sports package is included in this. One of the reasons why we upgraded is because we got a major problem from 2 years ago when Comcast decided to get rid of Masson Masson decided they didn't want to deal with Comcast. So we have a new, Masson will now be part of our basic programming, and HD programming. So everyone was asking about the HD. This is HD. So you're getting the best of the best for this particular contract. So what does it not include? It does not include DVR service. If you currently utilize the DVR, that's not going to change. So your DVR will remain the same. Modem rental or internet service. We did not negotiate for internet service. We talked about it, but we decided that it was not cost effective for us. So you're still going to have to rent your modem and your internet service. Premium channels like Starz, HBO Max, and Peacock are not included. So none of the upgrades, movie channels that you sometimes tend to use are not part of this particular contract. And streaming services. So if you have things like Hulu or I'm trying to think of Disney Plus, Universal Plus, they're not included in this. So if you have them on your contract right now, they are going to continue to be on your contract. So when's it going to happen? Well, the installation is going to be happening soon. Number one, there is a 90-day timeline between now and when our contract begins. They would like to get that in, everybody gets their upgrade by February 21st. What the schedule is, I do not know yet. I do have an email out, and I hope to have a response back before Thanksgiving, because I know they do want to get started moving things by December 1st. Resident access, yes, we are going to need access to your units. So they will have to come in. There's going to be some wiring changes. There's going to be box upgrades. There's going to be a few little minor things. They will not be in your units very long. It's only going to take them a few minutes to come in, check a couple things, change some wiring if necessary, and then they're out. And of course, on-campus representation. Comcast will be coming out in the next couple of weeks, and they will be doing a presentation just like we just had the police department doing. So they will be here doing that, and they will be doing a question and answer period at that particular time. So basically, what does this mean for you? Is there anything that you have to do now? No. Nothing will change. The billing will remain the same. What you're going to notice is that some of the stuff that you have right now that you're paying for, such as your HD, that'll be taken off. It will just disappear off your bill. So you're not going to have to do anything. Your bill will automatically change, and you'll notice it for a benefit for everybody. So I believe that is it. So I'm going to turn it over to Rob. I will be here if there's any other questions. I will be up here at the end of this. Rob?
Hello, hello. We got to stop doing this after lunch because I'm about to pass out. Darkness doesn't do well for me. I noticed no one sat in the front row. Is that because I brought that in? I told the guys, don't give me a dead one. We're going to find out if it's dead in a few minutes. But, all right. I'm going to talk about emergency preparedness, and I'm not going to keep you guys too long. Every library has a disaster preparedness readiness manual. When I say every library, every resident library has one of these, except Diamond, because I stole it. It's here. At some point, I'll bring it back. I said, guys, bring me one. They brought me Diamond. And inside of this is essentially, all, I'm not going to go through every page here, but a bunch of different policies and procedures that we have that is good information for you guys to have. When you get an opportunity, you may go to your library, take a look at it, take a quick read, but please don't take it out of the library. So if you want to make copies, you can do so. If you want to chat about the policies, I'm in the basement behind the clothes closet. Most of you guys already know that. Happy to chat. But yeah, they're there for everybody, and we do check them out every so often to make sure they're up to date. So, see if I can work this. I was actually going to ask the question, does anybody know what we do in a fire? Race pass. We do race pass. Rescue, alarm, contain, extinguish. Right? Rescue anybody in the area as best you can. Contain the fire. Sorry, alarm. I'm skipping it. Look at that. I should know this. Alarm. Sound the alarm. Alarm others. Tell anybody you can. Contain it. Close doors. Let it not spread as best you can. And if safe to do so, extinguish. Now, when I say it's safe to do so, if your apartment is up in flames, that's not safe to do so. If you have a small little kitchen top fire, maybe your grilled cheese was cooked a little too long, or your microwave popcorn a little too long, and you happen to have a fire extinguisher, sure, but don't put yourself in danger. That's what the sprinkler system is for, right? It'll take care of it, but again, don't put yourself in danger, but if you can, so be it. Pass, pull, aim, squeeze, and sweep. All right, I'm going to step away from the microphone in a second because I don't have a walk one to show you. But it's very important. You pull the pin, you aim the nozzle, you squeeze the nozzle, and you sweep. We sweep at the base of the fire. We always want to work away from the bottom to the top. So I'm going to show you real quick. And again, I guess we're going to find out. No, I made sure it was empty, but. So basically, you'll see there's a pin on the fire extinguisher. You're going to pull the pin. Pin doesn't matter anymore, right? You're going to take this bottom, you're going to aim it at the base of the fire. You're going to push down, and you're going to sweep down to up, putting that fire out as best you can. Easy as that. Again, pull the pin, drop the pin, aim. Squeeze and sweep. Anybody who wants to practice with this? Again, I'm located in the basement of the clothes club. Now I'm happy to have that. I have this training one that we have. Uh-oh. I just broke this. I'm sure June's going to come after me now. Yeah, anytime you want to come, I always have this one. Occasionally when they expire, we go and have some fun with them. So if you're around, we can do that too. But I'm always happy to discuss fire safety. So I wanted to specifically discuss that because that's the most obvious thing that's going to happen. Again, in your red binder, there's a bunch of different procedures and a bunch of different things that we have to include our emergency operations guide, which is a quick identification of all the different policies that we have that are in emergencies and what to do, to include things like fire, environmental, active shooters, bomb threats, all the different things we do on a regular basis. So that is on the very first page of this binder. So what do we got here? We did where am I here? I recently conducted a leadership emergency tabletop exercise. This is something I do every year. And every year I pick a different topic. This year it was our first in-person one that we've done. Now that we're sort of, hopefully forever, finished with COVID. We got the whole leadership team out, their staff. We had every department available and at this in person. We did a extreme weather emergency. So we had a tornado hit Asbury. Now, of course, this was hypothetical, but Vito did tell me that like 25 years ago, and if anybody was here or not, a tornado apparently did hit Kinley. And then, of course, a few years ago, which you'll see, a tornado did land about 6 feet from our gates. So it does happen. So I'm going to show you just a couple of slides that we had here. So this is the first one. The storm is coming. It was very interactive. So while we were discussing things, I was going around. We had music. When I say music, we had thundering going on in the background. We had the lights flickering. I was walking with little spray bottles, squirting everybody like it was raining. Meanwhile, they're all trying to figure out what they're going to do, and I'm distracting them. But, we try to make it as realistic as possible, right? What's going to happen in a tornado? Well, we're going to have heavy rains. We're going to have flooding. We're going to have trees, debris, all these different types of things. You'll notice it says Gaithersburg because it actually happened here. Did I go backwards? So yeah, then we have the storm is here. I'm paraphrasing through. This was a 40-page slide that I dumbed down to like 5 pages. Storm is here. We talked to each time there was a break, we had each table, and each table was each different department, talk about what they would do in support of the residents and the associates that are here. How are they going to manage what's happened? And during this process, we throw in all these curveballs, right? Oh, this just happened. This just happened. How does that change how you are going to handle business today? This was a picture. I think it's a video. Apparently, it's going to work. Is it going to work? That's the press button. This is real footage just outside of. It's on Russell Avenue. 355 and Diamond Avenue. This was 2 years ago, right? Last June. Pretty crazy. Sometimes you don't realize how close things are. You see shingles flying off the roofs, full debris, trees coming down. So while this is happening, and we're all trying to figure out what we're going to do, right? Specifically facilities. I laid this pretty heavy on Vito and his team. This is the guy just opened his window now. Do I have to hit a button again? Okay. I cut it a bit short, but you can see that was what really happened, like, just inside of a year ago. So obviously this is not the inside of Wilson Healthcare, but for the situation it was. Because what happened was a tornado touched down, tree fell through the window of the first and second floor, flooded the area. This is Parkview. We had debris go through Parkview, flooded the dining room area, destroyed the kitchen. A couple more. Whoop. I guess that was here we go. Yep, some Wilson and Cal areas, the flooding. So as we're seeing these kind of things, now we're addressing each different team members, right? All the different departments that are affecting us. How do we deal with this? How do we keep the residents safe? How are we boarding up windows to how are we getting food to you? How are we keeping the power on, the generators? What happens if the generator runs out of gas? Every possible scenario is what we're trying to assume. And again, this affects everybody, right? All the different departments. Everybody. So it was really interesting to hear everyone's, viewpoint, what they're going to do. And what I didn't discuss here is, as they're giving me answers, I'm telling them, wait, stop, this just happened. Does that change how you're going to do it, right? So again, we do these kind of things every year. At the very end, we talk about, the whole situation. We debrief from start to finish. We really learn a lot because you get everyone's point of view, right? So again, we have everything from the department director to, their supervisors and leads, and in some cases, even a few of the frontline staff, because everybody sees things differently. So we take all that and we learn from that, and, we prepare so if something like that happens, we're ready to go. So that was kind of an example of something we recently did. We'll have another one. We do one in-person, one per year typically. And it's a lot of fun, and, we do the best we can. And actually, it was so long, we ran out of time. We had to rush it just because it was so engaging. But in any event, that's all I had to say. So thanks for having me. If there's any questions, again, please feel free to call. If you leave a message, sometimes I will get back to you. It may take me a day, but in any event, check your red binders out. If you want to chat, I'm always here. And thanks for having me. And here comes Patty.
I'll fix the microphone so he doesn't get in trouble.
Thank you.
Okay, hello everybody. Well, maybe not fix it. So for anybody who doesn't know me, my name is Patty Parenti. I am your arts administrator. I am going to cover some exciting things that are happening next year to celebrate our centennial celebration, as well as our upcoming events. And I'm going to boogie through them, so if you have any other questions, you can come see me afterwards. So and when I say we, I mean the Centennial Planning Committee, which consists of residents and associates on campus, have one special centennial event every single month in 2026. So we're going to kick off the year with an elegant dinner, which is going to be similar to like the Valentine's Day and the Mother's Day meals in all of the dining rooms across campus. So that's going to start off in January on the 14th. And then throughout the year, you can see in February, there's going to be a movie day. In March, we're going to have a musical concert that's going to be about 100 years, so it's going to cover the evolution. We're going to have an innovation showcase in April. In May, we're going to do a time capsule unveiling for the time capsule that was here in Roseboro, and then we're going to create a new one. That's going to be very fun. We're We're going to do our usual antique car show in June, so we're going to be bringing that back next year. In July, we're going to have an ice cream social, which is going to be in celebration with associates. So it is going to be a full campus-wide event, so it's going to be very fun. In August, we're going to do a special Founders Day celebration. In September, we're going to do a Community Activities Day, which is going to be in conjunction with GBCI, for anyone who's familiar with the GBCI Community Day that happens every year. In October, we're going to do a tree planting by the Francis Asbury statue, which is just outside the pool area. In November, we're going to have a good old-fashioned sing-along. And then in December, we're going to throw a birthday celebration for everybody who is or will be 100 or more years old by the time that we reach 2026. So there's going to be a large celebration throughout all of next year. There's also some other initiatives that you'll see, like shows on AVTV and articles in Village Life magazine. There's going to be historical posters across campus, so lots of fun things happening. Village Life articles, historical posters, and then if you keep an eye on the Kilby Gallery when that gets swapped next year, there's going to be some fun things around the centennial in there as well, specifically in the center window. Something else that's exciting that's going to be happening is the Asbury Poetry Lovers group is going to do a collection of poems about life here at Asbury. So any resident or associate is invited to submit poems. It's a maximum of 2 pages long, so there is a cap on it, and you have a deadline of October 31st. So you have almost a year to write your poetry, and then they're going to publish them in a booklet, the size of which is to be determined based on how many people decide to join. So there's going to be more information coming, but if you already have poetry that you'd like to submit, you can go ahead and send it to Dorothy, either via email or you can send it through campus mail. You would just address that to Dorothy Mbori at the admin building. I want to say a special thank you to all of the residents and associates listed here that you can see. Believe it or not, we have all been meeting as a group for almost 2 years. It has been quite an adventure. So everybody here plays a role. They're either on a planning committee, focusing on a certain number of events throughout the year. They're on the communication committee, helping with the flyers and the way that we're communicating. They're going to be helping with events. So if you see anyone that I have here on this list, please give them a special thank you, because a lot of them have been doing a lot of work for almost 2 years to get everything ready for 2026. So it's going to be a very exciting year for us. I'm going to kind of go straight through for our events. Tonight, this evening, the Keese School is having a presentation with GBCI on building a beloved community at 7:30 here in the theater. Parkview has a regular Tuesday evening event series that tomorrow, because it's Monday, the theme is gratitude, which is with Beth Lynch, and she's specifically focusing on the neurological aspect of gratitude. So that's going to be very interesting. That's at 7 o'clock in the club room. On Wednesday, Roberta's taking a trip to the National Museum of American Indian. So that is going to leave here at 9. So if you're not registered and you'd like to join that, please give Roberta a call at 5141. In 2026, the Iris Music Project is going to be returning. We are doing a call for ideas right now, collaborations for performances, both formal on the Roseboro Theater stage or in the Blue Note, ideas for concerts, workshops, lectures. If you have ideas, please give me a call, send me an email. We are extending the deadline. It's going to be on December 8th is when the deadline will be, just to give people a little bit more time. We're going to have the Holiday Bazaar again. It's going to happen next Tuesday the 2nd from 2 to 4 in the community rooms. It's going to be a lot of the vendors that you see during the farmers market, minus the fruits and vegetables. So come out and support DJ the Baker and some of the other wonderful crafts that we have here. This one is a bazaar, so we do have the vendors donate 10% of their proceeds to benevolent care. There are 2 opera shuttles coming up. So the next one is on Wednesday, December 3rd. The transportation team wonderfully has been working with me on providing a shuttle up to the Westview Regal Theater in Frederick. So attendees are responsible for purchasing their own tickets. It's for the encore show of a Met Opera show. So it's Arabella. So the encore performance will be Wednesday, December 3rd at 1. If you're interested in taking the shuttle, please give me a call. You can purchase your ticket there if you'd like, or you can purchase it online, but I can definitely share more information with you. There's another one on the 17th as well. Not this Saturday, but next Saturday, all of your neighbors that participate in Encore Chorale, their concert will be in Hefner Auditorium. That's going to happen at 2 o'clock on Saturday, December 6th, so please come out and support the singers. The Winter Festival is going to be here in this room on December 8th at 2 o'clock. So the theme this year is unity. You can see some of the slips of paper, especially around the corner at the front desk for well-being, where you can write on them words or phrases that make you think of unity, and then they will all become part of one big chain on campus, which I'm really excited to see. So please come and join us here for the Winter Festival at 2 o'clock on the 8th, and go fill out the unity chain slip so you can be a part of the chain. We're going to have another blood drive. We have them spaced far apart that if you donate at 1, you can donate at the next one. So December 11th from 1 to 6, that one's going to happen in the Hefner Auditorium. If you have questions or you'd like to register, you can call Roberta if you don't want to go online to do that. Bit more of a personal touch there. The Asbury Singers are going to be doing the holiday concert. It will be here in the Roseboro Theater at 7:30 on Friday, December 12th. So come out and support the singers here. And then here we have December 17th is the other opera performance that we will be going to. So that wraps it up, but thank you all so much for hanging in there with us. I really appreciate it. And we're all up here at the front if you have questions. Have a great day.